Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on a process that shapes every single one of our careers, whether we notice it or not. It's called the employee life cycle. We're going to follow the entire journey an employee takes with a company, right from the moment a job opens up to their very last day. It's kind of like the hidden architecture of the modern workplace. I mean, really think about it. It's a question that gets right to the heart of how any successful business is actually built. And, while it might seem simple on the surface, behind the scenes, there's this really carefully planned process designed to find, develop, and manage the people who make everything happen. And this right here is mission control for that whole process. The Human Resources Department, HR, they are so much more than just paperwork. They are the strategic architects here. They manage recruitment, training, pay, safety, and even the really tough process of letting people go. They're the guardians of that entire employee journey. So, let's start at the very beginning. A spot opens up. How does a company find the absolute perfect person to fill it? Well, this first stage is all about the hunt for talent. And this is the roadmap for that hunt. It's a really logical 8-step flow that makes sure nothing's left to chance. It kicks off the second a vacancy is identified, then it moves step by step through analyzing what the job really needs, writing the perfect description for it, and then advertising it to the right people. From there, it's all about sifting through applications, interviewing folks, and picking the best one until, poof, that vacancy is filled. Think of it like a funnel, designed to find that one person who just fits. But hold on, before a company even puts an ad out, they have a huge choice to make. Do we promote from within, or do we hire from the outside? Promoting internally is often cheaper and a lot faster. I mean, you already know the candidate's work ethic, and it's a massive motivator for the whole team. But hiring externally is really the only way you're going to bring in completely fresh ideas and new skills. It's a super critical trade-off between nurturing loyalty and sparking innovation. Okay, so once they have a pool of applicants, HR opens up its toolkit. And let me tell you, it's not just about a CV and a good interview anymore. Companies use everything from practical skills tests to see if you can actually do the job, to aptitude and personality tests to figure out if you've got the potential to grow and really thrive in that company's culture. So the perfect candidate, let's call her Alex, she gets the job. She's hired. Awesome. But her journey doesn't stop there. Not even close. In fact, it's really just beginning. Now, the focus totally shifts from finding talent to nurturing it. And this is exactly why that shift is so important. Training isn't just a perk, it's a critical business investment. I mean, it makes sense, right? Well-trained employees are more efficient, they don't need someone looking over their shoulder all the time, and they create a safer, more productive workplace for everyone. It's a total win-win. So how do companies help their people grow? Generally, they go down 3 main paths. There's induction for the newcomers, there's learning by doing with on-the-job training, and then there's specialized learning through off-the-job training. Let's break down how each one of these shapes an employee's journey. First up is induction. Think of this as Alex's orientation week. It's all about helping her settle in, learn the unwritten rules of the company culture, and get up to speed on all the essential health and safety stuff. The main downside? It takes key people away from their normal jobs to get her started. Next, you've got on-the-job training. This is basically learning by doing. So Alex would be paired up with a veteran colleague who shows her the ropes right at her desk. It's cheaper, and it's perfectly customized to the business's specific needs. The risk, though? The person doing the training is less productive during that time, and they could accidentally pass on a few bad habits along with all the good ones. And finally, there's off-the-job training. This is when Alex might get sent to a college or a special training center to learn a new skill. The big advantage here is getting access to expert trainers and the latest knowledge. But it's a strategic gamble for the company, right? It's expensive, and once Alex has those awesome new skills, she becomes that much more valuable to competitors. All right, now we have to talk about the inevitable and often difficult end of the employee life cycle. People just don't stay in jobs forever. Sometimes the employee decides it's time to move on, and sometimes, well, the business has to make that tough call. And, it's not always personal. A lot of the time, workforces shrink for purely business reasons. Automation might make Alex's role obsolete. Demand for a product could dry up, or maybe the company merges with another one, which creates duplicate jobs. These are just the hard realities of a dynamic economy. Now, it is absolutely vital to understand the difference between these two ways of leaving. Dismissal is about the individual. It happens when an employee just isn't meeting the requirements of their job.
Redundancy, on the other hand, is about the job itself. The role is simply no longer needed by the business. This is a massive distinction, especially from a legal point of view. And that brings us to the framework that governs this whole relationship. All of these stages we've talked about, from hiring to firing, are all bound by a really clear set of legal rules and protections.
At the very center of it all is the contract of employment, that thing Alex signed on her first day. This isn't just a piece of paper. It's a legally binding agreement. It spells everything out: pay, hours, vacation time, job duties, the notice period, everything. It is the official rulebook for the job. And this one document, it protects both sides. It's a two-way street. For the employer, it gives them clear grounds for dismissal if an employee doesn't hold up their end of the deal. And for the employee, it provides job security and a legal foundation to get compensation if the employer doesn't meet its obligations.
Beyond just the contract, there's a whole ecosystem of laws out there to make sure things are fair. You've got protections against unfair dismissal and discrimination, mandatory health and safety rules, and of course, legal minimum wage laws. They all work together to guarantee a baseline of dignity and safety at work.
So we've walked through the hunt for talent, the whole journey of growth, and the legal rulebook that holds it all in place. Now, let's zoom back out and look at the big picture one more time. And look at that, we're right back where we started, but now with a much deeper understanding. This diagram now represents a living, breathing, continuous cycle. People like Alex get recruited, they get developed, and eventually they leave, which makes way for new talent to start that journey all over again, all with the HR team strategically managing every single step. If you take just one thing away from all of this, let it be this. A company can have the best product in the world or the smartest strategy, but without the right people managed in the right way, none of it matters. Effective human resource management is what really truly separates the great companies from just the rest. And that leaves us with one final and pretty crucial question. This whole life cycle we've just talked about, it's built for the world of work as we know it today. But with AI, automation, and global teams totally reshaping everything, what does this process even look like tomorrow? What new skills will companies be hunting for then? That's definitely something to think about. Thanks for tuning in.